campground.
Mundy Plains, I'll give it.
So there's your this kind of road helps you hone your beach driving skills. It's kind of funny. It's got like a sandy top on it and you wind up in the grooves and you pretty well stay there. Well, having said that, we've just gone off the softest part of it back onto like a super highway. But I've been sitting in the bloody lanes just not being able to change or do anything or go over 80. As soon as we turn the camera on, the road gets better. Go figure.
Alright, the afternoon has arrived and we're at the Tilpa pub. We'll give you a look at the Tilpa pub in due course. In the meantime, we'll walk you around here to the next one of the famous Darling River signs. So it's bloody warm. It's about 31 degrees or something like that. And here we are at one of these famous Darling River signs that we've become so good at showing you. Darling River, Tilpa. You are here. This tells you about the Darling River system again. On the western banks of the Darling River, historical Tilpa began as a port, servicing the river trade and local agriculture. The bridging of the river at Tilpa saw it become a stock crossing through which the local wool clip was transported to Wentworth and from there to Echuca or Adelaide. The land around Tilpa is Park Inji country, and the Park Inji people continue to maintain strong connections with the area. Scottish explorer Major Thomas Mitchell was the first white explorer to pass through Parkinchi land. He did so in 1835 as he travelled down the river. Overlanders followed, the explorers bringing cattle from Namoy to Adelaide in the 1840s. They were soon followed by permanent settlers who started taking land in the late 1850s. One of them compared establishing a station in the area to being one of the greatest gambling tables in the world. These early pastoralists stayed despite the challenges of the area. It still consists largely of sheep stations. Ah, there you go. So the village of Tilpa grew at the junction of the Peru and Burke roads, a crossing place for stock. The road junction eventually became the site of a telegraph office and pub, the latter boasting menu items that included goat and galah. There was frequent stopping point for river boats plying the river trade in the 1880s and 90s. Tilpa's many attractions include the old timber and corrugated iron pub, the only bore water memorial that includes a commemorative to the Harry Breaker Morant, and the shortest heritage trail in Australia, comprising just 2 signs on either side of the main road. First artesian bore was sunk at the vast Kalara station nearby. So there you go. So I'm not sure if this is the start of the heritage walk or not. I reckon it might be. A riverboat captain, so loading cargo by hand onto a paddle steamer. But for 70 years the Darling River was a highway in Tilpa that saw its share of paddle boats steaming the river and characters that manned them. 6-foot Tom Johnson was a riverboat man. He was a Scotsman, along with his brother Adam, began his sailing career on Arctic waters at £1 a year. Jeez. He came to Australia as a volunteer on the Lioness when refused permission to go ashore to visit friends from his home. He upended the captain until his money rolled out, took what he considered to be owed to him in wages and went ashore. He worked his way from barge master to mate, then skipper on the riverboats. Men would watch him load or unload a boat, walking down the gangplank with a bag of wheat under each arm. When he died at Killara Station in 1889 aboard the Jolly Miller, he bent the rails of his iron bed as if they had been sticks. Oh, there you go. There's the navigation of the river sign, which we've sort of seen in other parts of the Darling River Run. Info board on Sir Thomas Mitchell. That's the Tilpa boat ramp into the flooded river. Now I better do the rest of the heritage walk, eh? So here we go. There's a sign across the road here, so I'm guessing that'll be it. And here is tennis courts, a playground, the pub, which you'll get a better look at from this angle, so you can see how I'm over here. And as I mentioned previously, we're going to stay here tonight for no other reason that we felt we wanted to. Here's the other part of the Heritage Walk, the Royal Hotel, which is where we are. Apart from quenching the parched throats of those of the Tilpa district since 1894, the Royal Hotel for a time housed Tilpa's first post office. This, however, did not agree with at least one or more temperate members of the community who complained of a local member of Parliament. The letter read in part, I desire to draw your attention to the fact that the post office is at present attached to part of the Royal Hotel at Tilpa. I respectfully submit that it be removed for the following reasons. That the present situation is unsuitable owing to there frequently being drunken men hanging about the premises for days at a time. The frequent rows occur at all hours, day and night, and most roadside inns. The annoyance and interruption caused to the postmaster by the aforementioned disturbances. Post office was subsequently moved. So there you go, that's pretty well the Tilpa Heritage Walk in its entirety, and the pub. So we'll wander back in there shortly because it's too bloody warm out here. So I don't know what we'll show you in the pub, what we won't. If we don't show you anything, we'll see you tomorrow. Tilpa pub has got right everywhere. Every wall has got right on it. Plenty of it. If your right name is on this wall, where is it? And it won't matter, because by the time I see that comment, I won't be here. That can happen. Morning at the Tilpa pub. Got 4 motorised paragliders who are travelling up and down, or travelling one way along the Darling. So, pretty interesting. Thought I was going to go a bit earlier in the morning, 7:30, but anyway, there you go. Not sure which way they're travelling. They stayed here last night and they're on their way. What are the things you see in the outback? Well, good morning, day 5. We just left Tilpa pub. Both Karen and I aren't actually hungry. We had a pretty decent sized pizza last night, so we'll pull over and have something to eat later on when we get a bit hungry. We're now on the eastern side of the Darling River because the road on the western side towards Wilcannia is closed, but the eastern side one is open, so we're doing the eastern side. We'll find anything we can as we go along, but at the present time, pretty well what you've seen of Tilpa is what there is of Tilpa. So that was yesterday, showed you that. So we're on the road early this morning and we'll get to where we get to. So we'll see you in a while. Driving from Tilpa to Wilcannia, this is one of the 2 main roads. Obviously they're all dirt highways out here. This is one of them. Looks like a farm track, doesn't it? The road starts like a 4-lane superhighway and winds up being these couple of wheel tracks. Now this road has recently been flooded and so on, and the warnings on it are drivable with caution, so fair enough. But it's kind of funny that whether it's been maintained or not, it looks like a farm track. So I don't think it gets a huge amount of traffic. There is one on the western side, which is of the Darling, which is closed at the moment, and it may be the busier road of the 2, but this one's just like a farm track. It's kind of funny to me. We're averaging between 60 and 80k an hour on it because you don't know what washouts you're going to see and that kind of stuff. So another tip when you're out in the outback, do everything slower so you got time to react. You're on holidays, you shouldn't be in a hurry anyway. Well, we've made it to Wilcannia. Probably not going to be here that long, so we'll show you what there is to see. But as part of our continuing Darling River run, we found the info board. That tells you a bit about Wilcannia. This is always the same on these. Wilcannia forms the traditional lands of the Pakanji people, pronounced Bakanji, who remain closely affiliated with the district. Tells you where the name comes from, the first explorers, Thomas Mitchell, all that stuff again. White Cliffs, Broken Hill, Cave are great side trips for here. In the late 1800s, there's plenty of activity along the waterfront with steamers loading and unloading the wool stores and warehouses, with coaches lumbering up to the hotels with travel-weary passengers and horses. A new pontoon bridge were built to carry sheep across the river at a rate of 4,000 an hour, making life easier for the drovers. So there you go. Now there's a few other historical things about Wilcannia here. There's the story, a river of gold. There's the usual, we've seen a lot of this signposted stuff around this area already, this region. So I don't think that changes much. There's a historical type of, looks like a steam driven cart there in the park here. There's a lot of stone buildings around Wilcannia, which is well known for the architecture. So I'll try and get a few of those in. There's one across the road in front of me. That's the post office. There's probably a few more. And there's this centre lift span bridge, which is an old bridge that formed part of the way they used to get the steamers through. These days it's a pedestrian bridge. Back then it was a road bridge. So I'll go for a quick look at it, and we'll show you the state of the river at this part of the country as well. You can see why it's no longer a road bridge. Wilcannia is on the Barrier Highway, so it's a major road between Cobar and Broken Hill. So they obviously put the bigger, newer bridge in a long time ago with that in mind. But they've left this one as a pedestrian bridge. A lot of these bridges that have been like this on the the Darling River, have been either hard to get to, impossible to get to, or you see them from a distance. It's nice that you can walk around from this one. There's the Darling, still in flood. Obviously nowhere near as bad as it has been, but it's still pretty well up there. So yeah, that's that. Now I will try to film a couple of the stone buildings, but there's not a lot of other stuff to show you around Wilcannia, to be honest. But this is where our trip deviates slightly. Rather than continue along the Darling to Menindee, which is the next practical stop, we're actually going to go west and go to Broken Hill and do a couple of days hopefully around that area, and then we're going to go from Broken Hill down to Menindee and rejoin the Darling River run from there. So we won't do the part between Wilcannia and Broken Hill the way we've been travelling along the edges of the river, because it's more of the same realistically. Station sort of style property roads, which have been good, but not a lot I can film in there. And Kara and I quite enjoy Broken Hill. We do quite like it, so we're going to go there and do that area and give you a look at that. So head back to the truck now, see if we can find a couple more stone buildings, and then we're basically heading down the Barrier Highway until we get to the Busted Hill. So you may or may not see much more for a little while, but we'll show what we can when we can. Alright, hopefully you can hear me okay. There's council guys doing some lawn maintenance, which is fair enough. The jail and courthouse area, all heritage listed and stuff. A lot of this can't be read now because there's chunks out of the board, but this is the police station. One of the old sandstone heritage buildings. Still in use, by the way, as a police station. Not sure what the building next door here is. I'll stay as close as I can to the microphone. Hopefully you're hearing me okay. Now this is another nice stone building in Wilcannia. It's right next door to the police station, on the left if you're looking at it. Doesn't state what it is, but it's one of them. And then we'll go to the courthouse part, which is to the right of the police station. And they're probably the most significant ones, apart from the post office. There's a couple across the road too. I'll show you from this side. That'll probably be easiest. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult this morning, as it happens that the council guys are doing the lawn maintenance. So there's your courthouse coming up. It looks like the jail section is attached to the police station. Wilcannia Courthouse has got a sign on it, 1880. So it's Pretty flashy structure. I'm here on a Tuesday. It opens 12 till 1 on Wednesdays, and it's got some other opening times. But anyway, I'm not on the day where I can go and have a look at it. Across the road is another couple of the stone buildings, which are pretty cool. That's pretty well them. And like I said a minute ago, we're going to get out of here and head for Broken Hill, and we'll, as we have been, show you what we can when we can. Well, as you can see, we headed out of Wilcannia and headed down to Broken Hill, organised our accommodation and started looking around the town. So not a lot to show you here, but we'll start showing you the historic stuff at Broken Hill at the end of this little road piece. When you come to Broken Hill, you can come to a place called Bell's Cafe, which is 50s cafe, and it's all old school milkshakes. Coming out the back here, there's an old school jukebox. So this is what they used to look like in the old days, these kind of places. It's all very old school. Oh, museum out here. Old milkshake making gear and all that stuff. Pretty cool. All from the 50s. This is Australia's longest running milk bar. Bell's Cafe, apparently. So all this stuff would have been in use originally. Sure how much further you're supposed to want around here. Looks like about it, just the restrooms. So, yeah. We're in Broken Hill. Come have a look at Bell's Cafe and test out some of their old school milkshakes and smoothies and stuff like that. Have a look for yourself. Well, we're in Broken Hill, and after having a nice late-ish lunch thing at the Bell's 50s milk bar, we've come up the hill to the line of load, which is the Miners' Memorial. There's a bit of work going on here, so it's probably not quite as cool to look at as it usually is, but should still be able to go in and have a look around, I think. I don't know, but I think so. Anyway, there's your working part. Maybe we can't go in, I don't know. But up here is the big chair on the big hill. And maybe we can't go in the line of load. Now, for some reason, the chair's all roped off. Used to be able to go and everybody sit on the big chair. Once upon a time, there's a photo of myself, Kaz and many others from the Central Coast 4 Drive Club sitting on that. Perhaps they decided to not let you do that anymore for safety reasons, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, looks like there's a walk around the other way from all this construction to go and have a look, so we'll find what we can. Now, given the construction of what I'm assuming is the new line of load memorial at some stage, a few old machines outside, and there's a few old hauling carts, I would imagine is what they are, just out here, and a collection of old wagons that used to drag up from underground, and maybe some of the machinery that used to run on those lines. So I'd say they was all being pulled out the shafts and so on, and here's an old loader of some description. I wonder where the operator was in there. Looks like there's a little manhole thing there. I suppose the guy running it had to be no higher than the machine. Must be interesting to see out of. And the view from here looks like it's over an active mine site of some description. I don't know what you're seeing there. Well in there. It's all rather different to what it was last time we were here. Well, now that I've wandered around and got my memory back a bit, I've realised the line of load complex over there is just obviously undergoing major renovations. Over here we have the Miners' Memorial, dedication to all the miners who lost their lives over the years in this area. It's quite substantial. It's quite a structure too. And when you get up the top here, there's a lookout over the city. So I'll give you a look at that in a moment. Quite a solemn place. Now if you're off this way, just sort of looking west, back to the line of load exhibition that should normally be there. Over Broken Hill. We'll go easterly. And give you a look over functioning mine over there. Pretty impressive. And we'll go and give you a look over the whole city. So here we are over the main portion of the city. A little bit more of a look at the mine over there. So it's something to see. Probably all I could show you about this bit for the time being. And she's with me in these shots, you know. Not always. I am here. Not always staying off the camera. Now we'll show you other things around Broken Hill as we get the chance. So I'll switch this off now and pay our respects properly. About 5 kilometres out of Broken Hill is a massive solar farm. So we've come out to have a look at it. It satisfies the nerd in me, and it is one of the attractions listed in all the attractions paraphernalia about Broken Hill. So, AGL solar farm. That's just basically all the info that says don't go where you're not supposed to. Pretty well. There's more info up here. They've made this big viewing area. Yeah, already you can see it's a lot of solar panels. So we'll get up here and check it out. It's a hell of a lot of solar panels. Holy mackerel. God, they go on and on and on and on. A bit like I'm doing. It's going on and on and on. That's a lot of solar. And run a few caravans. We've got project overview. This power station uses thin film photovoltaic module panels. I think I'd learn to speak, wouldn't you? Commonly referred to as PV modules. They are made out of advanced cadmium telluride. And the sun shines. Jesus, Steve, learn to talk. When the sun shines on them, they convert sunlight into electricity. We probably knew that. Which is then fed into the electrical grid. The electrical power produced has no air emissions, no waste production, and no water use. Where does this power feed into? The Broken Hill solar plant is connected to the National Energy Market, which is managed by AEM operator. So there you go. July 2014 construction commenced. September 2015 generation commenced. October 15 construction complete. Full generation achieved. 53 megawatts. So that's a bit. The panels are at 25 degrees, which I'm guessing makes them probably the optimum angle to the sun. If placed end to end, the modules would measure 803 kilometres. I want to do that. Let's place them end to end, people. I wonder if we can organise that. Probably not. The buildings in amongst the panels that you can see are inverter kiosks. The power from each kiosk feeds 22 kV reticulation cables that are buried under the ground throughout the Broken Hill solar plant footprint. All these connect the switchgear installed in the project substation, which you drove past. I probably did. Yes, I feel like I did. To combine the total output of all the arrays to the power station. Power from the plant travels 2.7 k's in two 22 kV overhead lines to a substation where it joins a transmission network. 67,776 steel posts hold these suckers up. Yes. Pretty impressive when you look at it. Plant spans 140 hectares at 75 Sydney cricket grounds. Its capacity is 53 megawatts, 125,000 megawatt hours of clean energy every year. That's plenty. That's a lot. This really satisfies the nerd in me, guys. I hope you don't mind it. Generates enough power for 17,000 homes. Reduces gas house emissions by over 109,000 tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent per year. Roughly equivalent to removing 29,000 cars from the road. So, that's pretty good. Give another look at them. Hope I haven't bored you too much with this. I reckon they generate even more if they come out and dusted them occasionally. They're a bit covered in dust. But that's a shipload of panels. They just go on and on and on. Wow. Now that may not satisfy the nerd in you, but it's working for me. Alright, we'll see ya later. Even Kaz, who's not a nerd as such, she's checking her out.
Very impressive.
Well, no trip to Broken Hill should leave you not coming to the sculptures. So we're up here at the living desert where the sculptures are. So I'll give you a look at this sign here as best I can. It's got all the info about the assorted, actually it doesn't, it tells you about the symposium and the technical director. But anyhow, that's got nothing to do with it. What has got something to do with it? There's a pretty mighty fine view up here. It's also a bit windy, guys. You may have to cop a little bit of wind noise. I'm really sorry about that. But we're on our way. Now we were hoping to be up here at sunset, but we got here a bit early, so I really don't know whether we'll wait until sunset, because sunset's a long time away. Kaz is taking stills of some of the signs, which I'll be putting in during the course of this viewing or showing, or whatever you want to call it, on this video. So we're up at the first time. So this guy's from Mexico, facing the day and night. Okay. Facing the day and night. It's a bit sculpted. I'm feeling a bit arty-farty. I can feel my sculpture's voice coming on, my arty voice. God. Here we are. Well, it's occurred to me that about this point, there's too many of these sculptures for me to tell you about in one clip, and the video is getting quite long again, so I'll skip through to the what I consider the most important one, and then we'll get pretty well to the end of the clip, guys. So I hope you're enjoying it so far, and I'll see you in a minute. And this one, under the Jaguar Sun, because I'm not going to try and pronounce the Mexican, is pretty well the most famous and photographed sculpture up here. The sun's just in the right spot, so I don't have to wipe out the lens of it. But I'll come around to the sunny side so you get the sun shining on it, so you get the view of it from that way too. I'll go that extra mile for you guys. There it is. That's the most famous one for some reason. It's pretty good, really. I like it. Now guys, guess the title of this one. Did you guess? Horse. Awesome. It's bloody awesome. Well, like I said a few minutes ago, that brings us to the end of another clip. This one went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, but I really did want to finish it off on this day in Broken Hill. Next week we'll check out some more of the Broken Hill area and then we'll probably move on. But we'll see how that goes because I haven't edited it yet. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, put a like on it. If you're new here, consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, please click the notification bell. You'll know when a new clip comes up. And to all the old hands, as always, thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my clips. Really do appreciate the fact that you guys keep supporting us. All the best, guys. Just get out there, enjoy the bush. And from Steve and Kaz at Mud Ducks 4 Drive Touring, cheers for now, and we will see you on the next one.